Mully, we have breaking news on the score. Breaking news on the score is brought to you by Wildfire. Join Wildfire Restaurants as they celebrate 30 years of serving delicious food and creating memories. Longtime agent, we know Mike McCartney in town announced this on the Twitter machine. X, if you will. Congratulations, Joseph Thuney, to agreeing to a 2-year deal with the Chicago Bears. Joe Thuney, left guard for the Chicago Bears, 2-year contract extension. We'll get the terms at some point in time, but this was something we expected. This is a smart move for a veteran who's going to make a difference on that offensive line. The agent for Joe Thuney announcing via social media he is locked up for the next 2 years on the Bears offensive line.
Mike, former Bears pro personnel director.
Yes.
Yeah.
Longtime guy in town.
Yep.
So you think that's a solid move. It's not unsurprising. Ryan Poles had talked about it being a priority. This is really solidifying your offensive line. They've got the draft picks pretty much locked up. Now they're securing the future for that interior, which was so important. Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson, now Joe Thuney. So this is providing some certainty and stability at one of the most important position groups the Bears have.
You know, we kind of knew that was coming, right? When they made the trade for him, we kind of knew that was the idea behind it, that he was going to get an extension. But what is really excellent about this, and I mean excellent, is that this is a team leader type. The value, if you appreciate, you know, we talked about this last year when they had 8 different captains and none of them were from the offensive line. There is no unit in football like the offensive line, which is the team within a team, where everybody has to operate together in order to get something done. You brought in a guy who is a really good leader of that group, and now you've extended him, and that is great news for the Bears moving forward.
He was making a lot of money. He came here. He had signed with the Chiefs. Remember, one of the highest paid guards in football. I think he was maybe the 5th highest paid guard in the league. He's not inexpensive, but he's worth every penny because of the value he brings and the credibility he offers. So I think that this contract extension will likely be north of $16 million per year, because that's a going rate for guys of his caliber. Yeah. So he was making $16 million before this extension. You expect it to be cap friendly. So big picture, you step back and you look at, all right, that's a move we expected. That's good business and smart cap management by Ryan Poles. Now, pie in the sky. What does this do, if anything, to the Trey Hendrickson conversation? Because if you're going to be involved in that at all, you need to find some cap room. Is this conducive to adding a big salary like him?
Well, first of all, I think it's unrelated. Okay. I don't think that's in their plans. I don't think they're going to make a move like that. It's just, you know, and I think, David, we could sit here and talk for hours on how great a move that would be, because it would be a great move. And that would change the way you look at things. But I also think there would be an imbalance in terms of how much money they are investing in the defensive line.
I agree with that, because Dairo Dangbo is making a ton.
He's making a lot of money.
So is Montez Sweat.
And Montez Sweat's making $100 million.
Those are your edge rushers.
Just under it. So I'm just saying, when you're putting a football team together, part of the cap strategy has to be being able to draft people that can contribute at a cheaper price. And I think that's what they're trying to do now. And it's, you know,
I think that's the right way to look at it. And I just think it's one of those that's one of those broad issues that you wonder about. The Bears fans are interested and intrigued by, because Trey Hendrickson went rogue last week against the Bengals publicly. You wonder how many teams noticed that and are trying to get in the mix. So more likely what this does is it gives Joe Thuney certainty. He was entering the final year of a deal, paying him $15.5 million. It also, now if you look at the cap management and the roster holes, now you wonder about the running back. Now you wonder about how they're going to fit maybe J.K. Dobbins, Nick Chubb, somebody like that.
Listen, I think we knew coming out of the draft that they were kind of a man short at the running back position. We expected them to do something there. I think the very fact that they were thinking about trading up, for an Ohio State running back and they didn't get it done tells you that they understood that too. I mean, if you're going to run play action the way that they want to do it, they're going to need an upgrade at the running back position, and that's not a shot at anybody.
Well, let's ask about that because, okay, what you're referring to, Forged in Foxborough, the behind-the-scenes video that the Patriots did on the draft, and it showed them taking a call from the Bears, presumably, offering a 7th-round pick to move up one spot, and we think that that was because they wanted Travion Henderson, who ended up going to the Patriots. Now, does that mean that with that 7th-round pick, Kyle Monangai now fits into the role that Travion Henderson would have filled? Do you not trust him to come forward to take a step and be that guy?
I got no problem with him. I think he's a really tough kid and a good player. I just don't know that a 7th-round pick is ready to step in as a significant impact player for your team. And that's not a shot at anybody. That's just the reality of the NFL. I think, let me ask you this. Is it possible, as I think this through, that they wanted to move up a spot to take Luther Burden, the second or the third? When you look at their reaction to getting him, they were like, they acted like they won the lotto. They were more excited about landing the wide receiver than they were about getting the tight end.
You think they're fixated on Luther Burden?
I don't know.
They still could have probably get.
Could have that been possible? Could that have been possible?
I think the assumption was they were moving up to get the running back.
I mean, I think you're right, and I think we assume they needed the running back. But is it possible, given the reaction they had, that they were going to move up and take the guy they took anyway?
Possible. It's also possible that they could have done that at the 41st spot where they took Ozzie Chapillo. They could have gotten Luther Burden the third.
I think they had to take the tackle. I think they were stuck taking a tackle, and I think that he was a guy they had earmarked and looked at, and there were connections there, as we've talked about, that I think they were going to take. I think Ozzie Chapillo was a guy they were going to take, and they did so.
It made sense because they went into this draft needing an offensive tackle and a running back. Now, they did get both, but they had to wait until the 7th round to get a running back. Nothing against Kyle Monangai, but rarely do you see 7th-round draft picks make the kind of impression and impact on a running game that the Bears need another running back to make. So I don't think they're done looking at free agents at that position. I would be frankly surprised and maybe a little disappointed if they went into training camp and this is the running back room. Dustin asked a good question about Roschon Johnson. I think if the Bears had confidence in Roschon Johnson, there wouldn't have been much chatter about the offseason running back conundrum or dilemma that they're in.
So the Joe Thuney extension, 2-year deal worth $17.5 million per year. He'll make $51 million for the next 3 years with $33.5 fully guaranteed at signing.
That's good. That's good money.
That is good money.
That's good money at his age.
That is outstanding capital.
That's definitely, he's a guy that has been durable. This is from Bigsy, who tweets out the terms.
Wow.
And the next 2 years, $33.5 million guaranteed to a guy who is 32 years old.
I got to tell you, if I were him, I'd just retire. What? I'd just take that money and run.
I think that Joe Thuney feels like sounds like a guy committed to his third act. You know, it's.
Hey, I mean, I tell you what, you got him here. He apparently likes it. Listen, it's a lot of money. People like money, but I think that you got a leader type of guy that can help your younger players. I mean, all over the field. He's a championship player. So
he'll be 33 in November.
He's also a guy that has moved. There are some players in the league.
I'm just saying
that can last forever.
I know, but
I think this guy.
It's a lot of money. It's a big guarantee.
It's a little
bit more than I thought.
Well, you said north of 16.
Yeah, I guess the guarantee.
1.5.
When you see it and you see the age. But look, I think it's a smart investment because the Bears had little other choice but to solidify that offensive line. And they got the right guy. They got the right pedigree. This is a championship caliber player. And I think that you got a guy that's going to be a great influence and a steadying influence on a lot of younger players, and
I
he's going to
agree.
be the guy on your offensive line that shows you the way, shows you how to win. And you need that if you're Ben Johnson. You need that if you're the Bears.
It's a problem. It was lacking. This is a guy, as I said, that has like captain type stuff.
This is a guy who says, you know what, Caleb, this is how you watch film.
This is a guy who says, oh, your left tackle's no good. Here, I'll fill in for a game or two.
Or this is the guy who says, Caleb, why are you all alone in that room? Go in there. Case Keenum, keep him company. Show him what to watch on third down if he has to ask or wonder. Yeah, Joe Thuney, leader. This is a reward for his past accomplishments, but it's also an investment in what he's going to be in the future for the next couple of years. And it also reminds you, look, you want to find championship windows, look at contract lengths. He
is buying you time. He is getting you. He's helping you because he's going to fill a very key spot on the line.
Smart move, Bears.
And that is going to, well, I mean, again, we'll
Smart
see.
move.
We'll see. Because, they could have gotten, he's a veteran guy. He's an older veteran.
You had to do this.
Yeah, I think you did.
You had to do this.
I think you had to do it.
When you do things you have to do, you still can be called smart.
When you make moves for guys that you need, then, yeah, it's pretty smart.
It would have been dumb to neglect this.
All right. We got a lot of people who still want to check in on the Cubs. We'll get back to that. 312-644-6767. But that's good news for the Bears.